Hello everyone and welcome to the snack bar. It's been I don't know how many weeks, but my name is Geraldine and with me I have...
It's been so long I've almost forgotten my name. I'm Jedd.
Oh, okay. Hello, Jedd. So,
Hi, Gerry.
Sorry, I've been really busy these past few weeks because
Oh, that's
of
okay.
school.
You have a good reason to be busy.
Yeah, but I made my way out to watch a new movie that came out this week or last week, depends when this comes out. And yeah, let's talk about that later. So, Jedd, is there anything that you've watched recently that you really want to talk about or recommend? Or
In
just
between
hate
now
on?
and the last time we recorded,
Yep, in between now and the last time we recorded.
okay, so I guess Moonlight is out in the theaters now. Finally,
Yep.
at long last. We thought we'd never see it in Singaporean theaters.
Uncut too, which is amazing.
Yeah, with an M18, so it's not too bad. Yeah, I'm pretty happy that it's finally made its way here, and I think that after it won Best Picture, the financial argument was kind of moot, because I think one of the main reasons why the major distributors and even the projector were hesitating is they thought people wouldn't go and pay money to see it.
Yeah. But I think the Oscars really helped it as well gain that,
It did,
that momentum. Which is why the Oscars are great. I'm just saying.
To sort of raise that awareness and to raise the profile of filmmakers, writers, directors who might not be in the mainstream yet. So this definitely has pushed them to the mainstream. It's a beautiful movie. It's absolutely gorgeous to look at. It's the color, the use of color is very evocative. I love the soundtrack. The soundtrack is sort of this classical chamber music score, which is kind of unexpected, kind of surprising, and works beautifully. The performances are really, really good, and it does that thing where the film is split into 3 chapters. So you see the life story of Chiron, of the main character, who's played at 3 different stages in his life by 3 different actors. And so is his best friend, who's also played by 3 different actors at 3 different stages in his life.
Yep. And I guess it did live up to your expectations, right? From what I've seen.
Yeah, it did live up to my expectations. I think that it does a lot of the same coming of age story tropes, but it does come from a very personal place. Like, both the writer and the director drew upon, like Barry Jenkins and Alvin Terrell McCraney, they drew on their own experiences because both of them grew up in the same place that this main character grows up in Florida.
Yeah.
And by having it like unfold chronologically, you sort of see the main character build his defenses. You see how the world and how society perceives him and how he reacts to that perception.
Yeah.
So it's really something you can engage with. I felt that it was a story that I could hook into, even though the cultural context is completely different from what I'm familiar with.
I really do hope I get time to watch this movie, but I don't. So hopefully it'll come on Netflix. I really look forward to watching this film. It sounds really something that I love, because I love coming of age stories a lot. So,
yeah, it's really good. In that regard, it gets a lot of those things right.
Yeah, and I'm just happy that Singapore, the government decided, okay, fine, we'll just let this pass.
Yeah,
and they should have.
Better late than never, right? And apparently, I think that the whole financial thing was more of a factor than the themes and it having homosexual content, because Singapore did pass that Liberace movie Uncut in the theaters, the one with Michael Douglas and Matt Damon, and that was a lot gayer than this one is.
Okay.
Just in terms of like, I think I wouldn't necessarily use the word subtle, but the way Moonlight handles it is very tasteful, where you really get the emotional content more than anything physical.
Yeah, I guess, Carol was the thing. It came out here, and it was rated R21.
Yeah, and
I was really surprised.
Also opened here.
Sorry?
Blue is the warmest color. Also opened here.
Okay.
Yeah.
I didn't watch that.
And Carol did. Yeah, I didn't watch either of those.
Carol's really great. I recommend you watch that. It's very sweet. It's very sad, but it's a very beautiful film. a beautiful love story between, two people who can't be together.
Yeah, I should check it out because I adore Kate Blanchett, so I should check it out.
Yeah, she's amazing in it, as usual.
What other things did I watch? Well, slightly different film, The Fate of the Furious.
Oh, I'm not gonna watch that. I heard
I know you've checked out hard from this franchise.
Yeah. I'll be fair. Okay, honestly, I feel kind of bad because the reason why I bothered with Fast 7 was because of the Paul Walker thing. But
Right,
after
yeah.
that, I decided, I'm not gonna do it. But I heard Jason Statham is amazing in this.
He's good in this. So is Charlize Theron, and there's a very little bit of Helen Mirren, but what little there is really fun.
Yeah.
I think they've really locked into the formula of what makes this work, where it's more or less a heightened like superhero team movie, and they're all ostensibly normal people. But at one point in this movie, The Rock like punches a metal shipping crate and dents it, so they're
Yeah.
sort of self-aware of that.
What do you think of Vin Diesel's ego? Because I heard he's a very... Well, what's the male version of Mary Sue? Like, he's indestructible in this film, and he always
he's a
chooses
Gary
the right
Stu.
thing.
Yeah,
Gary
he's
Stu, yeah.
he's a huge diva, and he has this ongoing feud with Dwayne Johnson. And apparently, they are never in the same shot together in The Fate of the Furious. Like, they hate each other so much that they have to be kept separate.
I'll be honest, I thought that they only did that for marketing purposes because he goes rogue in this one.
But they
so I thought that was
continued the
thing.
feud after the movie came out.
Oh, okay. Sorry, I didn't keep up with that celebrity news, so I thought it was
Because
just
what
for
happens
marketing.
is Jason Statham and Vin Diesel... Jason Statham and The Rock are getting a spin-off, and Vin Diesel's not happy.
Oh, alright.
Yeah, because it's going to take attention away from him. So Jason Statham and The Rock, who have great chemistry in this movie because they hate each other, but then they have to grudgingly work together. So now they're going to be something like a buddy team for the spin-off.
See, I watched that. That sounds really fun. Plus,
Yeah.
I love Jason Statham when he goes comedy. or
There's
he's a
quite
parody
a bit of that in
himself.
this one. He has a very comedic fight sequence in this movie, which is extremely entertaining. So,
And would
yeah...
you, I guess you wouldn't recommend this for people like me who never liked the Fast and Furious franchise.
I think if you have the time, I think there's enough here to recommend for people who don't love the franchise in that Charlize Theron is cool. I think they are trying to sort of up the ante with the soap opera-ness. So there's a little bit more plot, I think. And like, it's not great plot, but I sort of
It's plot.
admire the logistics of the script, how all the things work together, all the sequences, all the characters work together.
Okay.
Yep.
Anything else you'd like to add?
Anything else? Yeah, I just watched. I didn't have to sign an embargo form, so I think I can talk about it, even though it's not out for a few weeks. King Arthur and the Legend of the Sword.
Okay, hang on. I want to guess. It's by Guy Ritchie, right?
Yes, yeah.
It is just okay.
I would rate it lower than just okay. I did not like this
Aw.
movie. Yeah.
Okay.
I think people will, but to me it just felt very, very odd because I think his sensibilities, he sort of described this as Snatch meets Lord of the Rings. So you have that chavvy sort of English street gangster vibe, but then you have gigantic CGI elephants and gigantic CGI snakes, gigantic CGI bats, gigantic CGI wolves. Just a lot of CGI. So he's trying to do this high fantasy thing, but he's marrying it with the street level Cockney gangster thing. And I don't think those two elements go well together at all.
Yeah.
It's,
That's a shame.
Yeah, it's weird because there are parts of it that are very distinctive. There are parts of it where you watch this and go, okay, definitely a Guy Ritchie movie, pretty cool. And there are parts of this where you go, this is so generic and I've seen this done so much better everywhere else. So the latter sort of outweighs the former, where the cons of the movie sort of drown out the pros of the movie. And you really get the vibe that this was Warner Brothers looking for some sort of public domain superhero thing, where they're already planning 6 movies is one of those.
Could I ask who is the actor for King Arthur again?
Charlie Hunnam
Oh.
from Pacific Rim, Sons of Anarchy.
Oh, you know what? I kind of like him. I'm
Yeah,
glad
if you
he's
like
getting
him, I
work.
think you should give this a shot, I guess, because he's not bad in it. He's very, very buff. He like put on so much muscle for this.
Okay.
But yeah, it's kind of the boring hero thing, and it's very, very generic hero's journey stuff where he's orphaned and then he has to come back and fulfill his destiny. He's been living for many years not knowing who he really truly is, and then now he receives the call and he's like, oh, this is not who I am, I don't want to do this, but then he has to do that for the greater good. So it's that sort of basic story.
Yeah, it's the kind of story that I really like the very
Okay.
classic hero's journey story. So I think I would enjoy it.
I'm not sure. I wouldn't tell you don't watch it because I know you enjoy like high fantasy and you like Charlie Hunnam, and this is so I think maybe you'll like it more than I do because I didn't like it.
Did you like the first two, the Guy Ritchie Sherlock Holmes movies?
Yeah, I like the first one more than the second one.
Yeah, me too. Okay, so I guess I can kind of get your gauge on. Because I thought like if you didn't like the Sherlock Holmes movies, but I really liked the first one, that will help me see where you come from.
Right, yeah. I think the first one is a lot more fun
Yeah.
than this King Arthur movie, mostly because Robert Downey Jr. is a lot more charismatic than Charlie Hunnam is, and it's more of a comedic role.
And
than
also
King Arthur.
bromance, man.
Yeah, exactly. They try for something like that because they do the proto Knights of the Round Table, so you have his whole gang around him. But I don't think they really define the gang well. Like he has all of his sidekicks and his allies, who
Yeah.
are both like they grew up on the streets with him, but also some of them served his father, so some of them are nobility. But it's not like a compelling team, which I was hoping for. I was hoping for good chemistry between the team, and they have like a kung fu Chinese guy in there.
Of course they do.
Yeah, who trained King Arthur in Kung Fu. So this is the kind of movie you're dealing with. Yeah, that's the problem for me is that it's on the verge of being super crazy fun. But it's a little too straightforward to really embrace the fun, right?
So is it a fun film or is it a very dead serious film that has fun? The characters aren't really having fun, but it's just fun to watch them fight, sword fight and stuff like that.
Yeah, I think that in terms of tone, it's really not as outrageous as it should be because they're not going for a historical retelling or more of a historical version. I'm trying to embrace the fantasy. So I think that what they miss is really the out there, like the zaniness.
Okay.
Yeah, because they're trying to keep it ground level and gritty and street, right? But they're at the same time, they're giant elephants.
Okay. So, have you seen this TV show called Merlin? I quite like that. Is it?
Right, yeah. So
You...
I've not seen Merlin, but I've heard of it.
I would like ask you, if it's around there, but okay, never mind. Right, let's just talk about Guardians then. Oh wait, hang on. I want to say that The People versus O.J. Simpson is on Netflix now. It's an amazing short series, and I really recommend it. There's like only 10 episodes, so you can just binge watch the entire thing. And it's part of a bigger series called
American Crime Story.
Yeah, True American Crime Story, and I really highly recommend that series.
Cool, yeah. That's from Ryan Murphy. He's the guy who did like Glee and American Horror Story, yeah.
I was really surprised by how good it was, despite all the reviews that I've seen.
He's also doing this thing called Feud, which is the first season of which is about Bette Davis versus Joan Crawford. So it's about classic Hollywood or high society rivalries. So someone suggested that maybe down the line we will get a Vin Diesel versus Dwayne Johnson feud.
That'll be amazing though, with both of them still alive.
Yeah, I wonder who would play those roles.
Can I just say that I never knew that a Kardashian was involved in the O.J. Simpson case?
You did not. Okay,
yeah,
that's how she became famous. Yeah, that's sort of how like Kris Jenner got in the spotlight because she was the wife of Robert Kardashian. So yeah, she's played in the series by Celia Ward, who is the fire girl from Hellboy.
I only know her from Legally Blonde.
Oh, right, yes, I'm up there.
Can I just say Robert Kardashian? He seems like a really cool guy.
David Schwimmer in the series, yeah.
Yeah, and I'm kind of sad that his daughters, that's the legacy that he leaves behind, even though he seems like a cool guy. But never mind, it's all right.
that's very much Chris's decision. Like, the whole thing, the whole direction that family has gone in is all masterminded by her. So I put the blame on her.
Alright, let's go on to Guardians of the Galaxy. Jedd, what is Guardians of the Galaxy about? Volume 2, sorry, not the first one.
Guardians of the Galaxy Volume 2 is the sequel to the Dark Horse Marvel movie of 2014, the big Marvel failure, which is what everyone was thinking it was going to be. But no, it was a huge underdog success. So now, not an underdog anymore. Their expectations have been raised. So Guardians of the Galaxy Volume 2 deals with Star-Lord's, played by Chris Pratt, his quest to find his biological father. In the first movie, we met his biological mother, Meredith Quill, played by Laura Haddock. But there's a whole mystery surrounding who his dad is. So in this movie, we finally meet his dad, who is Ego the Living Planet, played by Kurt Russell. And we were reintroduced to the members of the team, which include Gamora, the deadliest woman in the galaxy, played by Zoe Saldana, Drax the Destroyer, a rather literal-minded brute, played by Dave Bautista. We have Rocket Raccoon, but don't call him a raccoon because he doesn't like that, voiced by Bradley Cooper. And finally, we have Baby Groot, voiced by Vin Diesel, but really anybody could have done it, and they could have treated the voice. Mm-hmm. So that's not the only family reunion going on. Nebula, played by Karen Gillan, she sort of confronts her adoptive sister again, and they hash their issues out. At the same time, Yondu Udonta, played by Michael Rooker, he's the adoptive father, like the Ravager space pirate who was looking after Star-Lord. And there's dissension among the ranks. So one of his subordinates, Taserface, played by Chris Sullivan, wants to lead like a mutiny against him. At the same time, the Guardians are pursued by Aisha, the High Priestess of the Sovereigns, played by Elizabeth Debicki, who hired them, and then they did something wrong, so she's now after them, and she's sending all of her forces out to get the Guardians. In addition to gaining this new enemy, they also gain a new friend, Mantis, played by Pom Klementieff, who is an empath, and she is sort of a servant to Ego. So that's Guardians of the Galaxy Volume 2.
So before we go on to how we feel about Guardians 2, what's your thoughts on the first one? Do you think it's as amazing as everyone says it is? Were you surprised by it? Who was your favorite character, I guess, in the first one? And did it carry over in the second one?
Right, I loved the first one. And I think part of it was really, it sort of cemented the idea in my head that Marvel has confidence in its directors, that its directors get to put their own stamp on things. And another reason I sort of have a soft spot for the first one is because we had some of the cast members and James Gunn come here to promote the film. And that was a fun experience to get to watch the preview in IMAX and then do the roundtables with them and name drop. That was a really fun interview with Zoe Saldana because I told her about Lexi Alexander. And Lexi Alexander, director, tweeted me and said, who is Jed Young and how can I send him money? That was pretty cool.
Did he send you money?
She didn't send me money.
Oh,
I'm sad. Yeah, because the context of that was Zoe Saldana was talking about how there need to be more female directors, producers, writers. And I asked her if she had heard of and if she wanted to work with Lexi Alexander, who is the woman who did Punisher Warzone. Mm-hmm. And she had not heard of Lexi Alexander. So that was kind of fun. I still that's pretty cool. I think of that as a pretty cool thing that happened to me. And with the first film, who was my favorite character? I'm trying to recall. I did really like Groot. I think Groot was probably my favorite character because before the movie came out, when people didn't really know what Groot was, I would explain he's Chewbacca if Chewbacca were a tree, which I think is a fairly accurate description. And It's part of the attitude, the irreverence that you take your two biggest stars at the time, Vin Diesel and Bradley Cooper, and you have them voice CGI characters. So that was a kind of thing that you would think is crazy to let a big studio like Marvel do. So they had a lot of fun with that. And what is very interesting to me is that Guardians of the Galaxy Volume 1, that ends up being on the list of a lot of filmmakers' favorite Marvel films. Like Steven Spielberg, Darren Aronofsky, both of them said that that's one of their favorites. So I think it resonates with filmmakers. And it has that quotient, has the same effect that I think Star Wars did on kids growing up in the 70s and 80s, which is you have this really fantastical world that you can escape to, characters that are very distinctive, that are defined. You have toys that you can play with. I think it really it tickles the imagination, and while there's a heavy nostalgia quotient to it, it's not built only on nostalgia. So it works. It really, really works.
Well, for me, the first Guardians film, it is my favorite Marvel film, maybe. Cool. I really like the first Avengers too, but the Captain America one. But I think this is my favorite in terms of how creative it is and how different it is from the other Marvel films and how it's its own thing. which is very rare for a Marvel film or just films in general, because nowadays, they try to build up everything, and I guess they kind of did with Thanos, but that wasn't the main thing. The main thing was getting this group together and then, having them go against this big evil, which I think is really, really fun. It's really funny, it has a lot of heart, and yeah, it was such a great time. And I still say that opening in Guardians with Chris Pratt dancing and then the title card appearing, I think that is one of the most inspirational thing I've ever witnessed in my life. I don't know whether this is a homage to another film or like the 80s or something like that, but to me, when I saw that for the first time, I'm like, holy crap, if I ever make a film, I want to do something as cool as this for my opening, but I can't because that's just plain copying. But yeah, I loved all the characters. It's really hard for me to find my favorite character because I love Chris Pratt so much because he's Andy Dwyer, but I think
Burt Macklin FBI.
Yeah, and I think my favorite is probably Rocket Raccoon, because I like that they sort of sneaked in his backstory,
Yes.
which is really, he doesn't explain a lot, but he explained enough. And I thought that was just an amazing, like, it's very sad, and you can think about it yourself, and you can make up what happened to him. And yeah, I think that's a really great character, and there's so much more to him underneath the surface.
Yeah, you can fill in the blanks, right?
Yeah. And it's really nice that, this film is smart and it believes that its audience are smart. And of course, the soundtrack is amazing. So, yeah. So what do you think of Guardians Volume 2?
Yeah, before we jump into that, my other favorite character from the first film is Nebula. Because of really how different that character is from what we perceive Karen Gillan to be. Because most of us, well, me at least, I'm familiar with Karen Gillan from Doctor Who, in which she plays Amy Pond, and it's such a drastically different character. She's a stone cold badass in the Guardians of the Galaxy films, and it's really good acting because it's a complete transformation. Of course, she does have the help of the makeup and the wardrobe, but the way she carries herself, the way she moves, you can sort of believe that this is a woman who means business. So I love the character, and I love the dynamic between her and Gamora, which gets expanded upon in this film, and is one of the stronger, like, emotional threads running through this film.
Okay, so what do you think of Guardians Volume 2? And you must be happy because Nebula is back too.
Yes, and she has a slightly bigger part. Well, I like this movie. I think it's the funniest of all the MCU movies so far. I was laughing like pretty much nonstop, but I don't think it's as good as the first one. I think you can really see them trying super, super hard to up the ante. You can really see them trying to top themselves. And I do notice, like, when James Gunn had that Facebook post where he says he does not like sequels that bring all of the characters back to square one, I think that's one of the the best parts in terms of the storytelling, in terms of the arcs, is that the characters are not brought back to square one. They are sort of developed further, and it's built upon, and it is a sequel in that you do need to have seen the first one to understand where everyone is coming from.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, I did like that, but I think the whole thing of Chris Pratt hyping it up and saying this is going to be the biggest spectacle movie you've ever seen, sometimes the spectacle is a bit busy, sometimes there's a little bit too much going on. Towards the ending, the finale, I think, is a little too overwhelming, and you can kind of lose sight of where people are in the space. There are individual set pieces that I love a lot, and I think some of the smaller set pieces actually I enjoyed more. There's one set piece that Rocket has, which I actually liked a lot better than the bigger, flashier, like, space battle stuff.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Well, for me, I think Guardians 2, you're right, I think it's not as good as the first film, but I think the first film is special, and that's why you can't replicate that.
Mm-hmm.
And but I do really, really like this film, mainly because even though I don't know why people hype it up as this super huge film, but to me it feels a lot more like Star Trek Star Trek Beyond, where it's a more self-contained story. It's more focused on character relationships. It's more focused on characters' backstories, and not really about the entire galaxy. It only became about the entire galaxy near the end.
Yeah, third act.
Yeah, the third act. But, the first and second act, it was all about the characters and, what they mean and how they fit into the team and how they interact with one another. And to me, I really like that. I enjoy that character study. And I also enjoy how they talk more about Gamora's and Nebula's relationship. I'm surprised that Groot did not annoy me because I hate the minions and I was so scared that he'll get the minions treatment. But he was okay and he wasn't as annoying as I thought he would be.
Yeah, he was used very judiciously. I thought that's the same thing my brother said. My brother said, "Oh, I hope this doesn't become the minions." And I think that there is an awareness of the over marketability of something that is that cute. But
yeah,
they are sort of. I think what makes Baby Groot work is really the idea that he used to be Groot. So you are always reminded that eventually he's gonna get back up to that size and that personality. So it sort of it puts it in context. He's not cute for no reason.
And when they did use him, it makes sense because he's small.
Yes.
And so they have to use him for practical reasons. And not because, he's cute, let's just put him in for the sake of doing. I mean, they did that once, but that was like just in the beginning.
Yeah.
But after that, I think they used him well.
And at the end, he does like very typically cute things. So he's like curling up with people on their shoulders and things like that.
Yeah.
But
I thought that was a very sweet moment.
It was earned because of the whole adventure after that. It was sort of earned that, he's sort of the team pet.
Well, not anymore.
No,
okay, so...
Sorry, before we move on, that's another thing, right? That we know that this cuteness is temporary. We know that eventually it's going to grow back into adult Groot. So they will not overplay it. They're not going to use it for more than one film.
I hope so.
Yeah.
Like, I really hope we see adult Groot in the next one because if they have the spoiler at the end, then it's going to be kind of annoying because I hate that type of character.
I think that's a joke. I don't think that is like gonna continue being what we see for the next one.
Yeah, I hope so too. Okay, do you want to talk about individual characters? I don't think we have time for individual, but let's just talk about Chris Pratt and Kurt Russell, their relationship, what's going on there. Did you like that? Were you touched by it? Oh, and Mace Windu as well. I guess we just lump them all together. Sorry, not Mace Windu. What am I talking about? What's his name?
Yondu,
yeah. Whoops, okay.
I am your mother effing adopted father. Get here, boy.
And then we just throw him down. He wants to come back. I hope he does come back. Samuel Jackson. To Star Wars. I almost said Star Trek. I'm getting so mixed up with all my sci-fi stuff.
Yeah, what you were saying earlier about this reminding you of Star Trek Beyond, I do very much agree with that. Because of the character dynamics, the interactions, and not only that, but what each character means to the other.
Yeah.
So they do develop the whole thing, there's this little bit of rivalry between Rocket and Star-Lord in the beginning, which is a lot of fun. Because that feels like something I'd watch in a cartoon. That feels like something you'd see in a Saturday morning cartoon, in like the Guardians of the Galaxy animated series.
And like the whole team will get in trouble and two of them have to work together.
Yes, that whole thing. And that was a lot of fun because I felt like one of the things that really works with this is it doesn't feel like, how do I put this? But it doesn't feel so engineered in the way that a lot of these blockbusters do. It feels like there's still room for a bit of anarchy, and I think that's why James Gunn is being kept on for the third one, because that's what he brings personally to this mix. With the relationship between Ego and Star-Lord, like, do you want to go into that in spoilers? Because I think that there's some spoilers there that we'll have to like talk around if we're just doing this.
Okay, by the way, I want to ask you.
Right.
Do you think Guardians 2 has said family more than Fast 8? I swear, they use family a lot in this film.
They don't really say family that much in Fast 8.
Oh, no, they do. Okay, Fast 8.
Yeah, because most of the time that's said by Vin Diesel, and in Fast 8, Vin Diesel has gone rogue. He's sort of half evil.
But you're not by family, not even that.
So what they say about family is mostly like Jason Statham sneering. It's like, oh, I don't care about your family. That kind of thing.
Yeah.
Yeah. And
so I guess
say
Guardians 2 had to pick up the mantle since Vin Diesel is in this film as well.
Right. What is really interesting is, I mean, you have always said you love stories about fathers and children, and especially like fathers and sons. And this movie has that, and it has that in two forms. It has the relationship between Star-Lord and Ego juxtaposed with the relationship between Star-Lord and Yondu, and sort of who really deserves the mantle of being his father.
Yeah, I will talk about that in spoilers because, oh man. Yeah, so right. I'll talk about that in spoilers.
Yeah, so like before we move on from that, I guess Kurt Russell's a good get. He's having a lot of fun, and he has a much larger role in this than he has in the Fast and Furious films. It doesn't feel like he sort of like walked on set in between doing another movie. In fact, this might have been the other movie he was doing when he walked on set of Fast and Furious 8 in between this.
Yeah, probably.
Yeah, and like I'm glad that James Gunn got his first choice because he said my first choice of Star-Lord's dad is Kurt Russell. So I'm glad he got that.
I know people wanted to get who's the guy who plays John Wick again?
Keanu Reeves?
Yeah.
But Keanu Reeves is so much younger than
I think it was
Kurt
meant
Russell.
as a joke.
Right, no, I think you need somebody with that sort of status. And they play this gag, which I guess I can spoil because David Hasselhoff shows up on the soundtrack. So David Hasselhoff is referred to in the film as sort of the imaginary father that Peter Quill wishes he had. And there's this cute little exchange between him and Gamora.
Yeah.
And it's so funny because like you wish you had David Hasselhoff as your dad, and your real dad is so much better. Your real dad is Kurt Russell. So there's sort of the added irony of that because Kurt Russell, his iconic status is it. What I love about this film really is that okay, you know he is Jack Burton, he's Stick Plissken, he is all of these awesome characters from the 80s, but they don't rub it in your face. It's not like every other line he's referencing an old movie that he used to do. So
Yeah.
that shows like a certain self-awareness, but at the same time there's one reference I really wanted them to make that they did not, and we'll get to in spoilers, but that is my biggest disappointment with Guardians of the Galaxy 2.
Okay.
It's a very
The
very superficial disappointment. So that shows you like how okay I am with the movie as a whole. It's really, really good. So the only thing that I'm angry with is this one thing.
You know what I find really weird about this film is that they really treat killing very lightly. I'm not a fan of it. Like
The
I
casualness of death.
Yeah, like
I see.
I
Okay,
mean,
yeah.
it's fun. It was fun to watch, but then when you're watching it, you're like, oh, that's a lot of human beings dying. And in the first one, they sort of did that by blowing up the prison, which was scary to think about. But in this, it was the heroes killing all these humans or all these alien that's human-like. So I was really taken aback by how light it was. Like it was played mainly for comedy and to show like how cool the main characters are. And I don't like that.
Right. I think
Did you have that problem?
Not really, because I think they're treating it like the way you would treat it in a cartoon. In a cartoon, you can't get away with wantonly killing human beings. So characters always kill aliens or robots. So that's how they get away with it in cartoons.
Yeah, but in this, it's actually humans. Like people who look
humanoid.
like us.
So
Humanoids, I guess.
there's like a bit of wiggle room. I mean, I can suspend disbelief enough to think that, okay, these people have made their choices. I think most of the time, like, really, the people they're killing, for the most part, are the mutineers, like the bad Ravagers.
Mm-hmm.
And they themselves have, like, there's one pretty gruesome scene earlier on, which shows you what they have done to the people they disagree with. Then like, okay, these people deserve to die.
Yeah, but at the same time, you know, some of them may not have participated in that.
I don't know, yeah. Like, yeah, and then, another thing is, like, nepotism, they increased Sean Gunn's role a lot.
Yeah.
Sean Gunn gets so much more to do, but he was fun. It was
Yeah,
okay.
he was great in this.
Yeah, I didn't have a problem with that. It was so funny where he was, like, sort of backup Yondu.
So what did you think of the comedy in this film? Do you think it was too much? Like, was there comedy in a very serious mode? I felt like they had a lot of those, and I think a lot of them didn't work. Like when Chris Pratt is talking about his dad or something
Right.
like that, and how, like you say about the whole David Hasselhoff thing, I felt like I really wish they didn't, because that was meant to be a comedy, but at the same time, you know, it's meant to reflect what he really thought. But
Yes,
I felt like
yeah.
it was supposed to be a very touching moment, but you're like, David Hasselhoff, like that's really, you know, kids nowadays don't know who David Hasselhoff is, I guess.
Yeah, we'll get to that in spoilers, but there are at least two moments in the film where I thought, they shouldn't have had a joke step on a dramatic moment. And this is sort of one of the complaints I've had with a lot of the Marvel movies so far, where jokes step on comedic moments. I think that it's less of a problem here because the tone on the whole is comedic. But part of the issue is there are a few quiet, dramatic scenes in this movie that are genuinely emotional, that are very beautifully written and beautifully performed. In particular, one scene that Gamora and Nebula share. that you're like, wow, that's good stuff. That's good drama, and that's good writing, that's good acting. So when there's the potential for that, and then that gets infringed upon by the jokes, there's a bit of a waste, you know? And I don't think it happened too often. It happened at least twice, and we'll sort of go into those specific examples in spoilers. But yeah, it's an interesting thing how subjective tone is. And with this movie, I think a lot of the jokes people in general, like kids in general, won't get. Because a lot of them are very specific references to old-ish pop culture. Like the sort of the whole bit with Sam and Diane from Cheers. Like, nobody your age, my age probably knows what Cheers is.
Yeah.
Did you catch that reference? Like, when you said Sam and Diane, you know, do we have a thing going on, an unspoken thing?
Well, I mean, I just attributed that to Friends.
Right, yeah. That's
the will they, won't they relationship.
Yes, yeah, the sort of the archetype. So, the thing about that joke is that it's easy to understand what it is without knowing specifically what they're referencing, but it helps to know the specific reference, to know, like, the Sam and Diane dynamic. Because they're definitely not the most... I mean, they're not the only example in TV, but for Star-Lord, for his age, he would know that. And yeah, I'm sure there's some anachronisms. Like, there's probably some stuff he references that only happened after he was zapped into space.
Mm-hmm.
Like, he had this thing about He-Man, and I don't know whether He-Man existed at that point of time. Like,
I mean, He-Man, I think, was the 80s.
Right, and he was zapped into space in, 84, 82? I don't know. Yeah.
I hope okay, hang on. Let me write this down in case I forget. That I really want to talk about that one moment that kind of annoyed me.
Yeah, we have to remember what we are saving for spoilers. Because I've listened back to some episodes of this show and I said, we're going to talk about this in spoilers, and then I completely forget to talk about it in spoilers.
Okay, how did you like the way... I don't know whether people are gonna... If this is gonna rub people the wrong way, but how did you like... What's his name? The wrestler guy treating Mantis?
Drax, right.
Sorry.
Yeah, the whole thing between Drax and Mantis. Okay, so... Yeah, I mean, if you look at where James Gunn comes from, he comes from Trauma, and Trauma is, let's call a spade. There's a lot of objectification of women, there's a lot of nudity in their films, there's a lot of, like, nudity played for laughs, and nudity mixed with violence, and if you look at the origins of Trauma, I think James Gunn retains quite a bit of that sensibility, so maybe that's where that comes from. I think the thing with Drax is, I don't think he's out to offend people, and so that's part of his charm, is he doesn't know he's being offensive.
Yeah.
And I mean, it's similar to in the first film when he refers to Gamora as a green whore, and he doesn't know that it's being offensive because that's something another prisoner called her.
Yeah.
So he sort of says that, and his mannerisms, like the way he sort of interacts with Mantis, I don't think that's meant to say he's singling her out, because he also is not particularly tactful with his own teammates, right?
Yeah.
So I wasn't bothered with that, but I knew that some people might have a problem with it.
Well, to me, I didn't really know how to feel about it. I mean,
right, yeah.
I was more worried that people will get offended by it than being offended by it myself.
So you were not, like, personally uncomfortable with it, is what you're saying?
No, because I think the joke is that she is pretty and that he doesn't find her attractive.
Yeah, and I think, like, I mean, what might have helped is if we saw a family photo of Drax and his wife is completely hideous. And
but the thing is, you can't show that because people will get offended by that.
She's the most beautiful woman in the world. Well, I mean, I'm kind of thinking of it in terms of, like, in Warcraft or in any other fantasy thing where the orcs and so their physiology is so different that their males or their females look different from our males and our females, and so that's what someone might be attracted to. Like the whole joke about the dwarf's wife having a beard in The Hobbit, that kind of thing.
Yeah.
Yeah.
What I really wish was the dynamic between Mantis and Drax was he saw her as his daughter. I think that would work a lot more than this really weird, I'm not attracted to you because you're ugly relationship going on.
Right, yeah, because I was kind of afraid they were shipping Mantis and Drax, because I think the whole thing is Drax should never be able to get over the loss of his wife, like never ever. So once he moves on from that, then he's less of who he is. Which, you know, that's a symptom of the women in refrigerators thing, right? We give the male characters motivation by killing or otherwise harming their female significant other. But I think that's okay to define Drax that way, since it was established so strongly in the first film. Yeah, I think with Mantis, like, she's very much a knave. She's very she's innocent, and the whole idea with her is that I think you're meant to laugh at her a bit, but also sympathize with her. So I think that balance is weird.
Yeah.
And I think it is a stereotypical Asian accent that they've asked Hong Mantis to do.
I didn't think of it as an Asian accent at all. I think it was just a very odd accent.
I don't know. I felt that they were trying to make it like, oh, you know, the American GIs are rescuing the Asian woman from Vietnam or wherever. And I mean, maybe I'm reading into it, but that was sort of what that archetype was to me. That was sort of like, she's the damsel in distress.
Was she really?
I think so.
I don't know. It never occurred to me that she was a damsel in distress. If anything, Chris Pratt was more of a damsel in distress than anyone else in this movie.
Yeah, I think because her power, like her skill set, I don't think they use that in the film more for laughs than sort of like to seriously they use it a little bit, and I actually can't decide if they use it enough.
Yeah, okay.
Yeah, that's what I mean.
think well, I don't know. Like, I think maybe they're saving her up for next movie.
It is interesting because I have this thing where I'm in between really loving this character and not really knowing what to make of the way she's handled.
Yeah, because I think what they're doing now with her is that they're showing us what she can do in the very basic sense, and it's just like Ant-Man where they show Giant Man in the Avengers or something.
Right, like setting up the potential. I think that does make sense, yeah. And they've also like simplified her backstory a lot, because in the comics, she was literally like half alien, half Vietnamese, and she was raised by an alien cult in a temple in Vietnam. So they have that whole convoluted backstory that they kind of cut out of the movie.
Yeah. Okay.
Which is similar to with Drax, because Drax is actually a human being his soul is human. It's transplanted to an alien body, and they decided that was too convoluted, so they didn't do that.
Yeah. Was he super literal in the comics as well?
Not as much.
But he was.
Yeah, I think it depends. There's some versions that sort of do him, like the dumbness of the character is on a scale. Yeah. I think most of the time he's just more barbaric. So I think he's a lot cuddlier in the movies than he is in the books.
Anything else you want to talk in non-spoilers before we go on?
Yeah, design. I love the production design. Scott Chambliss.
I think sometimes it's a little bit too much.
I think it's the too muchness is intentional. Like I think they were going for Rococo. If you look up the period of design, the Rococo period, it kind of looks like that. Like they're trying to do a space spin on that, where it's very, very ornate. And everything is just dripping with accoutrements.
Colors
but at the same time,
and popping out.
Yeah, at the same time it's not like gaudy, and I think it's sort of the whole design of like Ego's palace, that I think it went well with his character. And one thing that's kind of interesting about this movie is a lot of the crew were unavailable to do it because they were doing Doctor Strange.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, so like the costume designer, the set designer, the cinematographer, they were all on Doctor Strange.
Okay.
Yeah.
Oh, that's sad.
So considering that, I think like it retains a lot of connectivity. It definitely feels of the same piece as the first one, even though James Gunn had to work with a different crew.
Okay. And I also want to, speaking of aesthetics, I realized that I think a lot of people complain about how Marvel music is not that memorable.
Right, yeah.
And in response to this, I feel like they've repeated the same theme, like I think the same few bars over and over and over again in this film. I can't even remember what it is, but I just remember
theme in this one.
Yeah.
Dun, da, 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 dun, da, da,
yeah, yes, that one, I guess.
Dun,
Well, that sounds more like the Avengers. I don't know.
It is that. Yeah, it's because everything sounds the same.
Okay.
And like Iron Man has da 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 da. And it's
Yeah, and I'll be honest with you, I hear that theme over and over again, but when I went home, I forgot about it. And because Wonder Woman, the trailer showed up before Guardians,
oh yes,
there was a theme that got stuck in my head
and
when I came home.
wailing electric cello, which
is
gorgeous.
Okay, I don't want to do that. I'm really bad. But I okay, before we go into spoilers, I just want to say that I watched this film at 12:20 a.m. and the movie ended at 3. I was not bored at all. I was never sleepy, so I guess that's a testament to the film. And that's saying a lot because I think I slept at like 2 a.m. the previous night.
Right, yeah.
So the film is super entertaining. It has a problem of... A lot of people say that it follows too much of the first film, which I agree. But I also like that it feels like a smaller film. It's very self-contained. It is all about the characters and the relationship between the characters. And it's not as good as the first film. But it is better than, you know, a lot of the sequels that aren't Captain America. That Marvel did.
Right,
in my opinion, at least.
Yeah, I think structurally it's very similar. But character-wise, I think they further the arcs. There's development.
Any final thoughts?
Before we move on to spoilers, let's just talk about the soundtrack, about Volume 2 of the Awesome Mix.
Okay.
Yeah, what did you think? Like, how do you like these songs vis-a-vis the songs from the first one?
I felt like they did too many songs in this.
Right, yeah, maybe.
Yeah, the first one felt more organic. This one felt like they're doing the same thing. I don't really know. Because some of the songs do fit, some of them don't, but maybe it's because I've seen it the first time. So it doesn't resonate with me. But when I watch it again, I'll probably be like, oh yeah, this moment is when this music comes out and that's awesome.
Yeah, I think that because of the first film, it kind of feels like any of the songs in this one are kind of second tier choices. But I did really, really love the Sam Cooke song they chose, you know, Bring It On Home to Me, the one where Star-Lord is dancing with Gamora, trying to get her to dance with him.
Yeah.
That was really sweet. I love Father and Son, the Cat Stevens song at the very end. That was beautiful.
Really sad.
Yeah. And like Sweet's Fox on the Run in the trailer, that's not too bad. I played that in the violin, so I will send over the violin cover, and if it sounds okay to you, you can put that as our intro and outro for this episode.
No problem.
Mommy, she told me, yes, she told... No, wait, that's not. Ah, crap. No, that's Cheap Surrender by Cheap Trick.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, so...
I don't really know.
Some of the songs are a little bit too close. Like, they sound similar because it's all sort of that same era, that same genre.
Yeah.
And I think at one point of time, James Gunn wanted to put another David Bowie song into this film, and it would make David Bowie the only artist who was repeated from 1 and 2, but he did not, so I wish he did that.
Yeah.
Yeah, because I feel like if anybody deserves to be repeated, it's David Bowie.
Alright, let's go on to spoilers.
Spoilers for Guardians of the Galaxy Vol. 2, yeah, lots of them, let's go.
Okay, so the ending, like, you know, I'm a huge, like, father-son, I love father-son stories so much.
Yes, you do.
And I was really, really happy that they decided to bring in Star-Lord's dad into this picture.
Right.
And
yes.
there was a part of me going, because I don't know what Ego the Living Planet is. I don't know what his character is in the book or in the comics.
And in the comic, he is not Star-Lord's dad.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I thought there is no way. Like, this is too good. Like, this character, there's going to be something wrong with him.
There is. Yeah, I mean, there's like. It's like in that episode of Futurama where Leela is on that planet and it's like, oh yeah, this is all going too well.
Yeah.
Yeah, there's a catch.
And also, you know, he talks about how much he loves Star-Lord's mom. And he actually got to me. Like, there was this point where I went, oh, maybe he is a good guy. No, he's not. He's evil and he wants to destroy the universe. And he loved Chris Pratt's mom, or he loved Star-Lord's mom, but he also went and, you know, made love with other people so that they can have his kids and his kids can have his powers maybe. And then he kills off those that don't have his powers. And for some reason, Chris Pratt has his powers.
He gave the mom the tumor.
Yeah,
which was... everyone in the theater was gasping. And like, but what else is it going to be? Of course, he's the one who gave her the tumor.
Yeah, you know what's amazing about this is that he talks about how much he wants to destroy the universe because that's not his idea of paradise. And you're like, oh man, that sucks. And then the moment you hear, oh yeah, and that's why I gave your mom the tumor, I think that's when everyone turned against him. Because you're like, what the hell?
Okay, so... Right, doing this, I think this is predictable.
Okay, I did not predict that he put the tumor in the mom.
No, I did
like
not.
I thought he
I
genuinely
did not
loved
specifically
her.
predict the tumor, but I sort of knew that it was tending towards him being evil. But I mean, it wasn't a surprise when they said that he killed the mom. But yeah, so what I mean
so
is that
fooled.
sorry.
I was fooled.
What I mean with this is, I think it's very, very similar to what they did with Robert Redford in Captain America: The Winter Soldier, in that you cast a beloved all-American hero in your film who has this body of work where he's played so many heroes, and he's sort of, there's a specific era where people grew up with him being a heartthrob, and then you turn it on its head and reveal that that's your villain. So I felt that they repeated the dynamic from Winter Soldier, if not exactly, but they did do that. And yeah, I guess this sort of ended up being that Aladdin direct-to-DVD movie.
Yes, and I love Aladdin 3. I guess
the one
was it
where
Return of the King?
His dad, King of Thieves, right? Something like that.
King of Thieves, sorry.
Yeah. So it was kind of like that. When that's what I mean when they introduced him, and it was like, oh yeah, he's a thief, and then this is King. This is his dad, is the King of Thieves. So I did like how Kurt Russell played it, and I think with this movie, James Gunn was sort of trolling the audience with Aisha being such a bland villain. It's just like, we know you're expecting this, so we're gonna give you just very generic MCU villain, and then we're going to reveal that that's actually not the big bad guy.
Yeah, as in the planet, the golden planet. I forgot what they're called.
The sovereigns.
Trace?
Yeah.
What's his name again?
Sorry.
Tape Face, was it? Taserface.
Taserface. Yeah, Chris Sullivan, the sort of mutinying guy, and the whole like Pirates of the Caribbean drama they had.
Yeah.
It's Pirates of the Caribbean in space, so kind of like.
Oh, by the way, I found out that Pirates of the Caribbean 5 has been renamed, 5 or 6, I don't know, but it's been renamed to Salazar's Revenge, which I absolutely hate. Yeah, because Dead Man Tells No Tale is so much better.
That's true. It is being released as Dead Man Tells No... Yeah, that's part of the problem, right? It's being released as Dead Man Tell No Tales in the US. And in international territories, it's being released as Salazar's Revenge.
What?
It's kind of similar.
Sucks.
It's kind of similar to how The Fate of the Furious is not called The Fate of the Furious here. It's called Fast and Furious 8 because I think it's not snappy enough for marketing. And yeah, so...
How is Salazar's Revenge snappy enough for...
I think Salazar's Revenge is... it's sort of shorter and more generic.
And I guess it's also because international market, they don't really know where Dead Man Tell No Tales comes from.
Yeah, right.
Which is one of my favorite phrases in the Pirates of the Caribbean, right? But anyway, that's besides the point. And also, I love the Yondu. I love that they expanded on the Yondu and Star-Lord, Peter Quill relationship.
Yes, and they had this one flashback to Yondu teaching Star-Lord how to shoot. And it was so sad.
Yeah,
it's so beautiful.
It kind of reminded me of Kung Fu Panda 2, where he was like, oh, it's not about how you start, it's about how you finish, or it's how you choose your decision after that. And then they had like all the flashbacks.
Right,
and then they had one scene where Mr. Ping was hugging Po, and that reminded me of that scene.
Yes, that's a good association.
Yeah, because a lot of the flashbacks, it's like quick cuts. But I think that was the one where they lingered on a little bit more. And then that was the end of the flashback or something like that. And I thought like that was so beautiful. And it was so sad at the same time because I did not think that they would kill off Yondu. And I was so upset about that.
I mean, like, I don't mean to sound to sound like a snob or like a know-it-all, but I think it was very, very obvious they were going to kill Yondu.
Yeah, I don't know why. Like, I thought, I think Father Son things blind me so much because I actually believed for a second that Kurt Russell turned out to be a good guy and maybe this wasn't the real Kurt Russell or something like that.
Right, yeah, that you were rooting for Star-Lord to be happy.
Yeah, and also
I understand that, yeah.
Like when, because I don't know why, but this is Disney, right? So they...
Ish, yeah.
Yeah, Disney-ish. So I thought like, even, because they hinted so early on that there's only one spacesuit. And I thought, okay, that's way too obvious that Yondu would die, so he won't die. Nope, he's dead. And the worst part about this is that they milked it like crazy. they expanded the entire thing for like I think the last 10 minutes of the film was just Chris Pratt being like, oh, Yondu's dead, and I should have seen that he was like my father instead of thinking of David Hasselhoff.
Right.
And
yeah.
that destroyed me. Like I was trying my best not to cry. I did tear up, but I was trying my best not to cry because it was like 3 a.m.
So
and
did this, like, were you more emotionally affected by this or by Logan?
this.
Interesting, yeah.
Yeah, because I think Logan, I don't know, like Logan. I think Logan, it's because you don't have this build up. Like you don't think that Chris Pratt, he never really saw Yondu as his father figure,
Exactly,
and Yondu
yeah.
always loved him. And I
Yes,
think that that's
that
a tragedy there.
right? Yeah.
Yeah. And I'm tearing up just thinking about it. But Logan, he just met the girl and he fell in love with the girl because that's a plot. I mean, it can be believable. I believed it, but that felt like a very movie plot thing. But in this, it felt more organic. That he found out what happened to the kids that he sent to Eagle, and he decided, okay, I want to protect this kid from that. And then he lies to this kid that he's basically being a tsundere about it, but he lies to this kid that he only wants him because he wants to use him to steal things and stuff like that.
Into smaller spaces. Yeah, that is interesting because I mean, in the first film, Yondu is not necessarily a good guy. You're not supposed to look at him as the good guy.
Yeah, but at the same time, you also know that he cares for Peter Quill,
and that's why the mutiny happens, because he has been perceived as being too soft on Quill by Taserface and Taserface's sort of faction. So I think what made it obvious to me that Yondu was going to die was when Stallone comes out and goes, "You're not going to get a Ravager funeral with the fireworks and the yeah, and the yeah." Then that's exactly how the film is going to end. The film is going to end with a Ravager funeral and the fireworks.
Yeah. Oh shit! I didn't see that coming.
And so my big disappointment with this movie, hugest biggest disappointment. No Tango and Cash reunion. Drove me nuts.
Well, maybe. Well, he's dead, so.
Yes, when they had the first report, when they saw Stallone holding the Guardians of the Galaxy script, walking onto the stage, I said, obviously he's gonna share a scene with Kurt Russell. That's the only reason they're doing this. So I was hyped for 2 years for a Tango and Cash reunion.
Yeah.
I'm so
sorry.
close yet so far. Yeah, I know. I mean, I don't even really love Tango and Cash that much as a movie, but it's why would you pass that up?
I mean, okay, hang on. Sylvester Stallone, do you think that was stunt casting?
Ish. I don't know. The idea is that Sylvester Stallone is Starhawk, who is the leader of the original lineup of the Guardians of the Galaxy in 1969.
Mm-hmm.
So they're trying to do that. The original team will meet up with the new team in the third one. That's what they're setting up for.
Oh, okay.
They have the whole cameo at the end with, Michelle Yeoh as Alita O'God. So Alita is Starhawk's wife, and they sort of can fuse into the same body and do a metaphysical thing. And Mainframe, the computer, she's voiced by Miley Cyrus, and then you've got Charlie 27, you've got the Diamond guy. So those are all the original team members of the old team. And Yondu was also one of the members of the old team.
I'm surprised Miley Cyrus decided to come back to Disney Company. I thought she hated them like crazy.
Yeah, I think James Gunn convinced her. And I think maybe part of it was that it was a joke. They were sort of trolling the audience slightly. And if no one told me it was Miley Cyrus, I wouldn't have guessed. I would have thought it was Tara Strong.
Okay.
Yeah, so sorry, I feel like I interrupted you there. Were you about to say something more about Yondu?
I kind of want him back, but I think it'll destroy the emotional moment at the end. But
yeah,
they really milked that ending.
There would be no integrity to bring him back. So yeah, that ending was good. The whole the poignancy of the funeral and the closure that he has, that he's I was looking for a father figure and it was right there all along. And the honesty in that, and it was really, really sweet. And I think that's what these movies are about. Really, it's sort of about contextualizing relationships in a fantastical setting.
Yeah. So
these are relationships that are recognizable. These are threads that you sort of see where it's coming from. And the whole thing that like my brother, I think what he found quite emotional was Yondu and Rocket's exchange. When Yondu's like, you are me, and you're doing this just to hide, deny who you are. You don't want to let anyone get close because you're scared to be hurt again, and that was really beautiful as well.
And I also like how, at the end, he's like, oh, all these people came to his funeral. Like, I'm getting so emotional just thinking about it.
Let me give you virtual pats. Pat.
Rocket was like, oh, he still has his friends despite trying to push them away. And I thought like, oh, Rocket, that's so sweet.
Yeah, and it's really, really, really cute. And it's good stuff. I mean, like watching this, I was kind of like, why can't someone figure this out with Fantastic Four? Because it's sort of the similar dynamic. It's a sitcom, it's a family sitcom. They're all weird and they all have their own roles. So, I don't know why people can't figure that out with Fantastic Four. It's like, it should be easier.
And also, I think, like, the story and plot, it may not be the most amazing thing, and to you, it is predictable. To me, it wasn't, because I was blinded, and I was blindsided mostly by the father-son stuff. But it's predictable, but I think a lot of it has to do with how good the writing is for all the characters. Like, they really have their own, except maybe Groot, they all have their own thing going for them. They're not defined by... They're not just, stereotypes or anything.
They're not
there
plot
is
devices.
a lot. Yeah.
Yes.
I guess the only one that's sort of a throwaway is Drax, who is more of a comedic relief.
Yeah. Where I think with Drax, I really liked it because I felt that it played completely to Bautista's strengths. Like, James Gunn recognized what worked with the first one and sort of gave him more to do of that stuff he's good at. And his comic timing is so sharp. He's hilarious in this film. And the biggest laugh I had was the antenna thing.
Which one was it?
His theory about Mantis's antenna, that they're used to detect the door so that you will not cut your head off when you walk through a door.
Yeah.
I was laughing for 1 minute afterwards. I could not gather myself to that. I was like, this is hilarious. Because it's funny on so many levels. The first of which being, of course, that's not what the antenna for. The second of which being, Drax imagines that if you walk under a door, your head will just fall off like that if you hit your head against the doorpost. Which is hilarious.
I forgot what my favorite joke was, but I did remember laughing a lot at it. Can we talk about the final fight between Ego and I guess the rest of the Guardians? Did you like... There was one part that really bothered me. There was such a high emotional stake moment.
Yeah, was it the Pac-Man thing?
Yeah, it was a Pac-Man thing.
Yeah, okay. So the problems I had, like the two moments I am iffy about, are the Pac-Man thing and the Hasselhoff cameo.
Yeah, that too, yeah.
Yeah.
I think, those are the big ones to me as well.
And those are very much in the same vein, where what it is a pop culture joke undercutting the potential for a genuinely emotional, dramatic scene.
And because... at the same... I mean, I also understand that they want to get... they're basically recalling back, bringing back what they said in the previous film. Sorry, in what happened before that. I'm losing my words right now. Oh, it's just a callback basically to what happened.
Payoff. Yeah, it's a
payoff.
It is a payoff to the plant earlier. And I mean, like, okay, I would have been very, very okay if they had just left it at the Zadu Hasselfrau joke, because that was really, really funny. That Gamora thinks David Hasselhoff is called Zadu Hasselfrau. So the implication there is perhaps Zadu is as common a name on her planet as David is on Earth. So that was funny. But then when you actually had him show up, it killed the vibe for me, because David Hasselhoff, like, he's really, really good at prostituting himself. His entire career is based on selling out. He's one of those people who will just do anything at all for money. I mean, he's in Sharknado things. He's just all over the place. He's hawking like iced coffee for Cumberland Farms in the US. So he's one of those guys who really is just, he knows that he doesn't have genuine actual chops, so he's sort of trading, like, this is such a cruel thing to say, I'm sorry, but he's trading on past glory, right?
I think he's also trading on he knows that he's a joke.
Yeah, a bit like Shatner, right? And the problem with that is it cheapens this thing. It makes Guardians of the Galaxy on the same level, even if just for one moment, as Sharknado, which made me sad. Do you agree with that?
Yeah, I do.
Yeah, and like, it's such a shame, because when David Hasselhoff shows up for something like Kung Fury and he does the soundtrack for that, you're like, oh, that's cool, because Kung Fury is such a small thing, and it does have that underdog vibe, which at this point it feels like Guardians of the Galaxy is trying to manufacture an underdog vibe when clearly they're no longer the underdogs.
Mm-hmm.
So the appearance of David Hasselhoff contributed to that a little bit. And like, I don't mind it if he's singing on the soundtrack, sure, whatever, but him actually showing up in that moment that Kurt Russell turned into him, I was like, But yeah, I mean, a lot of my friends like it. So I don't know whether that's just a problem I have or you have, but I didn't like it.
Yeah, I didn't like it either. I think there is a fine line between having a dramatic moment and having... I think they were going for fun, to be honest, but I really wish that they played it out more as a dramatic moment than anything.
Yeah, because like, if you sort of realize I'm sorry, but if you realize the weight of that revelation, what it would do to you to realize the gravity of that situation, of how awful and how horrendous and atrocious the actions of Ego have been, to let that sink in and then have that cut short by this joke, kind of killed it.
Yeah, and honestly, during the Pac-Man, I think the Pac-Man thing was the one that got to me the most, because I'm what are you doing? And
Dear James Gunn, what are you doing? ? Signed, Jerry.
Please come back to Singapore and bring Chris Pratt with you as well.
Wasn't happening this year, man.
I did not. I hated the Pac-Man scene so much because I was like, right from the moment when you saw that it was yellow, I thought, please don't do this. It's really dumb. And
so you knew
that.
You saw that was what's gonna happen. I did not actually. I didn't even realize that was what they're gonna do.
Yeah, it's just, I hated it so much because it could have been such a cool moment. And I guess it was meant for laughs because, Kurt Russell's character became this super cool human being, and then the thing that beats him is Pac-Man. But I think when Chris Pratt, when his friends are in danger, the first thing he doesn't think about is, I'm gonna munch him. Like, that's not...
I'm gonna goof. Yeah.
Yeah,
that's the thing, right? Because I feel that it's this idea of the whole relationship between Kurt Russell, Chris Pratt, and Laura Haddock this is Zeus, Perseus, and Danae. This is the idea of a god and a demigod. And a demigod sort of meeting his father and realizing the power that he has within him. So they're playing with that archetype, and then of course the god turns out to be evil. So what does this mean? What would it do to you on an emotional, on a mental level, realizing that what you've wanted all this time actually turns out to be just how horrendous the reality is? So I wanted to get more into Star-Lord's head in that moment, to sort of feel more of what he felt.
Yeah. Oh, well. What else is there to talk about?
Easter eggs, I guess.
Okay.
Yeah, there's lots of little nods and stuff, and I will be upfront, I don't know Marvel as well as a lot of other people do, so a lot of the Easter eggs are kind of difficult to catch, but, well, for me at least, but I did love the little bit of Stanley talking to the Watchers. So, who they are, Uatu among them, the Watchers are sort of these cosmic, omniscient beings that look over the entire Marvel universe. So, one of the fan theories is that every single Stan Lee cameo in the MCU so far has been him. He's actually a Watcher, and Stan Lee is his Earth, human incarnation. Mm-hmm. So by having him sit down and have a conversation with the Watchers, it sort of teases, if not confirms, that idea.
Yeah.
And at the very end where he goes, I have so many stories left to tell, you know that they're obviously filming that for his memorial reel. Knock on wood. When Stan Lee passes, that is going to be the thing they put in.
Okay.
Yeah.
Oh, that's a really dark way to take a comedic moment, but alright.
It's all to me, that's the only way I read it. And, well, the other Easter eggs, there are so many. Of course, what we alluded to earlier is the original Guardians team. So they're trying to set it up that the original Guardians team is coming back together and they're going to meet up and probably team up with the new guys, which is cool. And they did that in the comics as well. And Yondu was part of the team. So I think the implication is that Stallone, he was the leader of an original team of Guardians that included Yondu many years ago.
Can I ask, what are they going to do with Sean Gunn's character? Because he's going to be the new Yondu, right?
Yes. I think that is what he's going to be. So the other joke that I really, really liked in this one was Groot bringing various objects back to
Yeah.
Yondu and Rocket that are obviously not the Finn. And the whole thing with the severed human toe is like, do you have a freezer full of severed human toes in this ship? If you don't, let us just agree to never speak of this again. That's really funny.
And I also like how it was a really nice tease when he opens the drawer and then he takes out, I guess it was mint.
Yeah, he obviously goes for the wrong thing. It's so cute. No, I love Baby Groot. Well, okay.
Yeah, and I like that, they had that oh man, he got the wrong thing, and then Sean Gunn came out and was like, oh man, that's not the thing you're looking for.
Yeah.
Which is really nice. I thought it was a really good moment.
Yeah, it's so cute. And also the whole thing with him and the button. I like, even though it's been in all the trailers, I mean, we've seen that trailer so many times, it still worked in the context of the film. It was
also
still funny.
Baby Groot crying is the saddest thing I've ever seen.
Yeah, oh, so sad. And when he was like being bullied by all of and he was forced to wear the outfit and he was like trying to tug it off. It was genuinely heartbreaking.
Yeah.
So it was really fun to see him get his revenge. It's like, Yeah, well, one thing I want to ask you regarding the humor is, did you like how many adult jokes there are in this, like the innuendo? Because a lot of children will be watching this movie for sure. And I don't want to play moral guardian.
I think the innuendos are innuendos, so I don't think kids will get it until they grow up.
Perhaps, yeah.
So to me, that's not a problem. And I think that there's enough on screen for them to be entertained, even though they don't really understand why the adults are laughing.
Yeah, that's a good way to look at it. And I don't think there is anything as shocking as the blacklight Jackson Pollock joke in the first one. Which is like, okay. You.
But I do think, it's one of those things where kids won't understand until they grow older. And if you look back at a lot of our films that we watch as a kid, there are a lot of innuendo jokes inside.
Right, yeah.
So I don't think
Pasturator, and I mean, like, Hunchback's an entire villain song about how horny he is.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
Great
That's
villain
gross.
song. Yeah. Yeah. Well, I mean, and the other thing is that they're sort of planting for the third film. The whole thing with Adam Warlock that is planting for the third film. The cocoon that Ayesha has, and she's growing this perfect warrior. So, what is funny is Adam Warlock's cocoon was in the collector's collection in the first film.
Yep.
So how does that work? Was that actually the thing, or is that like deception and misleading us? We'll see. And I guess the casting of Adam Warlock is what will be watched very closely for the third one. It'll sort of be like the casting for Cable, the casting for Domino.
Who is Cable, by the way?
Josh Brolin.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, I like it. Yeah. That works, because I was hoping for, sort of this 80s tough guy. I think Josh Brolin is like maybe 5 or 10 years too young for what I wanted, but he's the right type, because he's tough, but he can also do comedy.
Yep.
Yeah, and he can I can imagine him being like a foil to Ryan Reynolds, just being irritated up the yazoo with Ryan Reynolds.
Anything else you want to talk about Guardians?
About Guardians, yeah, there's probably a lot that I'm missing right now. I think. The thing is, where do you think they're gonna go with the third one? Like, is it really just gonna be the team up between the old and the new team?
Maybe. I mean, it's bigger.
I think like Captain Marvel might appear in the third one. Should appear in the third one.
Maybe as a cameo.
Yeah, perhaps. We'll see. And like, do you think people are tired of this sort of formula of this style of the jokes, or do you think people are like, by the time this one comes out, like, I don't want a third one?
Well, I think people do want to see a sequel after this, because I think the characters are enough to warrant a sequel.
To sustain it, right? Yeah.
Yeah,
so
but
too.
I hope they tone down a little bit on the comedy.
Yeah, I'm with you there. I want it to be a bit less manic, like a bit less madcap, and I mean, like when they started with the Baby Groot dancing thing for the title card, I was like, this is very, very good. Let's keep it.
Oh, really? I thought it was like too much of they're trying to capture
the glory. Yeah, I think that there's some of that as well. But I liked what they did in that it was sort of the bravery of saying, we are not going to focus on the epic battle. We're just going to play up there. And that attitude is at the heart of what makes this work. It's sort of the casual weirdness of James Gunn.
Yeah.
Yeah, okay. And, well, I saw your Facebook post about Tower of Terror and Guardians of the Galaxy Volume 2. I don't remember that bit. Can you remind me?
You know, when they're escaping in the pod, and then they go down, like, vertically down, I think they just beat Eagle, and then they went to high tower or something like that, and then they had to go to the core.
Oh,
Yeah, so like they dropped all the way down, and I thought, that's a Tower of Terror moment right there. So I wonder whether, Tower of Terror will be based off that scene.
I think Tower of Terror is based on the first one. It's Escape from the Kiln or something.
Oh, come on.
Yeah, I think it's themed around
why do you get rid of Tower of Terror, man?
I think it's theming around escaping from the prison in the first one, if I'm not wrong. But yeah, it's a bit sad. Tower of Terror is a classic, right? And people complaining about there being so many post-credit scenes, completely not getting the joke. Like, there are 5 because he's trolling you. It's a joke. Mm-hmm. Get over yourself. I like that there were 5, yeah.
Yeah, and why were they complaining about more content?
And yeah, it's kind of like, oh, you're going overboard. Why is Marvel so stupid? And then it's like they sort of did not get that was the point. That James Gunn was sort of spoofing the propensity of Marvel to have tags that have like stingers. Yeah, that's Guardians of the Galaxy Volume 2, I suppose.
Yeah. Sure, we probably missed out a lot.
Yeah,
but,
probably.
Yeah. Everyone's great. Yeah,
I wanted the Tango and Cash moment so bad.
And I wanted Yondu back alive, but both of us can't get what we want.
Yeah, exactly. We can't always get what we want. Yeah, that was my May the 4th joke a few years back. Was I sort of put the top of the image was Steven Tyler singing "I Don't Want to Miss a Thing." Then the bottom image is a stormtrooper going, "Yeah, but we can't always get what we want."
Okay, so Star Wars, the new trailer came out. What's it called? The Last Jedi.
Jedi, yes.
Yeah. What do you think of it?
Yeah, alright. So I think we don't have enough to judge anything at this point of time. I went to like a community center and we were all out there at 12:30, 1 a.m. and we were all watching the live stream over YouTube from Orlando. So that was kind of fun. It was just like 10, 20 of us. Some of the people in that group are part of the planning committee for May the 4th, so they're hard at work right now. I liked it, but I think I need to wait a little while to see more, because just like we couldn't really form a full opinion based on the first trailer for The Force Awakens. We're not even going to form a full opinion based on the first trailer for The Last Jedi. But I am very happy that they have Rose, that they have like this unknown Vietnamese actress who is playing what looks like a major new part. And it's pretty cool. I like that there's a chance that they're taking. And I think hopefully this encourages big franchises to take more of a chance with putting untested actors of color in their films. Because I feel that we get a lot of untested white actors in action parts, but not in like franchise movies, or not necessarily untested Asian actors.
I do think, in big franchise films that won't fill, like Marvel films won't fill now, Disney animated films, I mean, and Star Wars, those film franchises that will probably succeed because of the because of the brand name, and not because who stars in it, right?
Right, yeah.
Yeah, so I think it shows it's movies like Star Wars that can take that risk. That's why, there's a black actor, there's a female lead, was he again Hispanic or
Diego Luna? No, I mean who is it? Poe
He's
Dameron?
Mexican,
like Oscar Isaac?
I guess.
Yeah, I actually don't know what Oscar Isaac is.
Okay.
But I think he has South American heritage. Yeah. And I mean, like, the cast of Rogue One is so diverse.
Yeah.
And Disney could also do Moana casting a complete unknown, Aluidi Carvalho, as Moana, because they are Disney.
Yeah, and also they did that for Big Hero 6 with Ryan Potter.
Yeah. With Ryan Potter, yeah. So I hope that continues, and I hope that encourages other studios to try that. And I'm curious to see what kind of a character Rose is. And I think Rose is not a Star Wars-y enough name, but time will tell when it grows on me. Because Star Wars is interesting in that you have very weird names, and you have people called Luke and Ben. Well, okay, I think Mark Hamill looks super badass, and I love that he's basically Obi-Wan now, and it makes me think that in 40 years, Daisy Ridley will be hiding on an island with a beard, and be some small boy that comes out to find her. Just repeat the cycle.
And, judging by, if we get someone like J.J. Abrams, we probably would get that. Okay, sorry.
The main thing is we don't know enough yet, but I think I'm really heartened by hearing hearing Rian Johnson say that he worked on the script with Carrie Fisher, that he let Carrie Fisher workshop her lines.
Yeah, okay.
So yeah, and that there will be a lot of Leia in this one. So we'll see. Yeah, I guess what happens now is, will this be exactly Empire in the same way that The Force Awakens was exactly A New Hope? Which, by the way, I like that it was exactly A New Hope, but I don't know whether or not this should be exactly Empire. And it looks a bit darker at this, but I don't want it to be beat for beat Empire the same way that The Force Awakens was beat for beat A New Hope.
I'm looking forward to stop. Am I looking forward to it? I guess I'm curious about it, especially with that trailer coming out, because it does look interesting. They say that maybe Luke Skywalker may turn evil, but I hope that doesn't happen because it's a little bit boring.
I think that would be a betrayal of... Well, Luke Skywalker turning evil was the running theory for Episode 7. Like, people leaked these possibly fake concept art pieces of Luke, like cyborg evil Luke. And I think that was meant to throw people off the scent. We'll see what happens, because we haven't seen in this trailer Benicio del Toro, who is the main villain of the new one.
Honestly, before I watched Star Wars, I always thought that Luke Skywalker did become evil in the last one. What was it called? Episode 7?
6?
No, after Return of the Jedi.
The Force Awakens?
No, Return of the Jedi.
Right, Return of the Jedi is 6.
Oh, is it?
Yeah.
Okay, yeah, sorry. Right, that's only the trilogy. Sorry.
Right.
Return of the Jedi. I thought that he would turn evil, but apparently I was looking at Anakin Skywalker instead. You know, the one where he's like angry walking with the hood.
Yeah, where
over
he has
his
his
head.
glowy eyes. It's like, you underestimate my power.
By the way, I'm so happy. What's his name? The guy who plays Anakin Skywalker.
Hayden Christensen.
Yeah, I'm so happy fans embraced him in the Star Wars celebration. It was really nice. Like, it really wasn't his fault that Anakin was shit.
And I mean, I listened to this very fascinating interview with Ahmed Best, who plays Jar Jar Binks. And it is a crazy, crazy story, because he was saying that this was a role Michael Jackson was after.
Okay.
And George Lucas had to bring him backstage after Michael Jackson concert, so apologize that Michael Jackson didn't have the part.
Okay.
It's bizarre. And Ahmed Best, his background, he had never been in a film before. His background was he was a dancer with Stomp. That's sort of like the percussion dancing troupe. And he was 22, 23 when he was cast as Jar Jar Binks. So
was it because he could make that funny voice or something?
I think his physicality, his acrobatics.
Oh,
yeah.
okay.
And he was not originally considered for the voice. They were going to dub a different actor, but he said, can I also test for the voice? And he claims to be the one who devised the fight between Count Dooku and Yoda in Episode 2, because he's a huge Kung Fu movie fan. So he sort of sat down with the visual effects supervisor and showed him some things and gave him his suggestions for the fight between Yoda and Count Dooku. So it's really interesting. And Ahmed Best, yeah, his whole story is, like, I think fans kind of are okay with him as a person. I don't think people think that Jar Jar Binks is Ahmed Best's fault.
One thing I really like about the Star Wars fans is that even if they don't like that character, they love the actor. Like, they have huge, immense respect for the actor who did that.
Yeah, I mean,
so it's always nice to see.
That's why I feel sad for Jake Lloyd, because Jake Lloyd sort of went on this downward spiral and he took it really badly. And, like, he burned all of his Star Wars merchandise, and then he got into this drunk driving thing, and he, like, I think Star Wars kind of ruined his life, which is kind of sad.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, so that's Star Wars The Last Jedi.
But, if they do bring him back, I think a lot of fans would embrace him.
Yes, that's what I think too. Yeah.
I'm so happy, Kristen. I don't know how to pronounce his last name. Hayden Christensen. I'm so happy that they brought him back and he was willing to come back. And if you actually watch his interviews, you can tell that he's not used to interviews at all. He stumbles at his words a lot. He's not very charismatic.
No, not at all. Yeah, he's like worse Paul Walker.
Yeah, but he is very nervous, I guess, because, when you've gone like half of your life listening to how you ruined your character was the reason why the Star Wars film. Yeah. But he really embraced all those sand memes, which is really fun.
Sand memes. Oh, I love it. Yeah, I'll never ever get tired of the sand memes. And also did you ever hear of the tragedy of Darth Plagueis the Wise?
and I think it's kind of obvious that he doesn't understand how to meme because the host was like, so how do you feel about Sen? And obviously you have to say, I don't like it.
Yeah,
it's coarse and
it's rough, it gets everywhere. Yes, he was sort of teeing it up for him to hit the ball.
Yeah, and he didn't, which is kind of sad. But if it's not his thing, because I don't.
Because like
maybe he's scared.
Mark Hamill is good at that. Mark Hamill is good at picking up the cues and.
And maybe Hayden Christensen didn't want to do that because he's like that meme has haunted me for my entire life. Please don't do that to me.
Yeah, it is so interesting that he is sort of like the unexpected hero of Celebration 2017. I thought that was weird, but I like it as well in the same way that you do, that the fans are accepting of him.
And apparently his meetup sessions sold out the fastest or something like that, right?
That's interesting. Yeah, I didn't know that.
Yeah, so good for him. I hope he bounces back and comes back as Anakin Skywalker. I don't know.
Question mark.
All right, so let's speaking of nostalgia, let's talk about Fantastic Beasts and its casting of young Dumbledore. I love this. Jude Law.
Yes,
he's doing that.
Okay. Yeah, did everyone see this coming? Everyone saw
no one
this coming,
did.
Right?
I didn't.
No, I mean, I'm not saying that I predicted it, but like when it was announced, it's like, okay, fine.
Yeah,
that
it does.
makes sense.
Like, I mean, it's better than Johnny Depp, I guess.
They wanted Jared Harris, right?
I'm not sure. I didn't hear about that.
They're sort of pitching. Because Jared Harris is the son of Richard Harris, who was the original Dumbledore.
Oh, yeah. They wanted, like, Benedict Cumberbatch, I guess, Jared Harris.
Oh, those, in that ballpark. So, with Jude Law, it's kind of funny because in King Arthur, he plays an evil wizard.
Ooh. What, is he Merlin or something?
Yeah.
No, he's not evil.
No, he's not. He's Vortigern. So, he's in the story, he is the guy who took over the throne from King Arthur's father and sort of pushed him out and became an evil tyrant. And then he is doing that with the power of magic.
You know what, Jed? I actually want to watch King Arthur now. Because I love that story.
I don't blame you at all. And I mean, it's weird, right? Because I didn't like it, but I'm not going to say, please don't watch it. You will hate yourself. I don't think so. I just think maybe it's just me. I didn't like it.
All right.
Yeah, so as the Harry Potter fan of the two of us, what do you think of Jude
I love
Law
it.
as young Dumbledore?
I mean, because I like Jude Law. And hopefully he does his research, unlike Richard Harris, on what Dumbledore is. But it's very...
I thought it was Michael Gambon.
Michael Gambon. I'm sorry. Yeah, because he was like... you know what? Forget it. I love that the fire, did you put your name in the goblet of fire? I love that one. I love that meme so much. Like, I know that's not how it's like in the books.
It's like the adverb is
and I love that was how it was. Yeah, you know what? Like, I didn't read the books by then. So when that part came out and like Dumbledore was freaking out, even I thought like that was way out of his character. Yeah, I love Jude Law. I still wish that they had Colin Farrell as maybe he'll come back. I don't think he will, but to see if only Jude Law, because Grindelwald, he is this charismatic villain, and I think Johnny Depp has lost his charisma like 10 years ago, maybe. So. And Josh Brolin was so good in Fantastic Beasts that I really wish they had him back.
What? Wait, Josh Brolin was in Fantastic Beasts?
What did I say? Oh, sorry, Colin Farrell. Oh, I'm getting my names all mixed up.
How did you mix up Colin Farrell
Because we were
Josh
talking
Brolin?
about Cable. So,
Yeah, and I mean, there's gonna be so much slash fiction, like slash fiction up the wazoo, and like all the yaoi fan art of Jude Law and Johnny Depp. Just brace yourselves.
I just wish it was someone like Colin Farrell and Jude Law.
Colin Farrell and Jude Law. I would ship that
too.
Yeah.
More so than Johnny Depp. But apparently the new Pirate Spy film, from early reviews, it's not bad.
It looks good. Okay, my main problem with it is Brendan Thwaites, because stop trying to make Brendan Thwaites happen. Brendan Thwaites will not happen. Brendan Thwaites is... That's such a hard name to say. Okay, he's playing the kid, the boy
Oh,
in
Orlando
the trailer,
Bloom's kid.
who is spoiler, but he is Orlando Bloom's
I don't
kid.
think that's a spoiler. They kind of
and
marketed that.
I think it is. I think it's a spoiler. I don't know, but I mean, I read that really early on, but the trailers don't say that. In any case, he's the guy from Gods of Egypt who was doing like White
yes,
Aladdin.
yeah. Okay, he's the main character.
Yes.
Oh, right. You were the one that said he's the really annoying kid.
Yes.
I don't know. I thought
Yes.
He's kind of cute in the trailers when he's like, I saw her ankle.
Maybe, yeah. I like Kaya Scodelario as well. Like, I kind of wanted her for Lara Croft.
How do you feel about those Lara Croft pictures? I
yeah,
see you fangirling about them, but I never got your real thoughts on it. Fanboying.
Yes. Looks good. No, I mean, I'm glad it is that literal, because really, those costumes would work in real life. They're very practical costumes. And I think that it's been pretty much confirmed that the villain is the same villain from the game. So if they're being that close with it, that's pretty cool. And I'm really excited, because I think that this is a chance for them to sort of take this to be something a little grittier, I guess. But at the same time, I still want them to play up the magic, the fantasy. But if anything, the first Tomb Raider movie was a little too glossy. Like the whole thing, you sort of knew that there weren't really any stakes, that Lara would never really get in any real trouble. So I think now they're going to put Lara in real trouble.
Who's the director of this Tomb Raider film?
Roar Othag, who is a Norwegian director who directed this movie called The Wave, which is a Norwegian tsunami movie.
Okay.
Yeah. And the directors of Pirates 5 are the guys who did Kon-Tiki, right? Joachim Roning and Espen Sandberg. So, yeah, European directors.
I've honestly given up on good video game movies for a while, because I love what's his name, David Bowie's son, Duncan Jones. The fact that he couldn't make a good video game movies is kind of upsetting, because I thought like he's a great visionary, but I guess the film is too big for him, or was too big for him.
Yeah, I was pinning so many hopes on Assassin's Creed.
I just wish Hollywood would do a smaller video game first and then build up on that.
Yeah.
And you don't have to, because they can just get maybe a smaller director who did a few good indies. Because nowadays games, they have story, but some of them don't really have to have scope, because a lot of games, their stories are simple, and you just need a few sets and a few set pieces, and that's your story. Like, a lot of games aren't even action films. You don't have to have an action film for your video game. So you don't have to make it an action film if you want to make it a video game film. No, just have it more like a character piece or something like that. Start off small, Hollywood.
Yeah, like I could see Life is Strange as a Netflix series. Yeah.
And, I would really love a Zelda anime, but it's not big in Japan, so now I have to rely on America for Zelda something. And I know they won't do well, because it's Zelda and they don't really understand the appeal of it, so I have to step up to the plate to do it. So wait for me, Hollywood. I'm just kidding.
Yeah, and you should right now cryogenically freeze Thomas Brody Sangster so he doesn't age any further.
Okay, what else is there to talk about?
There's other stuff. Yeah, there's like a lot of news.
Let's see. Will Smith is Genie.
Right, yes. And Seth Rogen is Pumbaa.
Oh god, that's terrible. Sorry, I didn't hear about the Seth Rogen thing.
You're not happy with that?
No.
You did not? Okay.
Please no recast. But then again, I was never on board with the Lion King remake in the first place, because I think it's the worst part about this is that people will say that it's more of an animated film that's a realistic, but I don't.
Yeah.
The point of animation to me is to not copy from life. And I think that ruins the whole point of animation if you don't have any human characters in it. Like, I think realistic characters, they only make sense in shorter films because, it's more of a technical achievement than it is an animation achievement. But
Right, yeah, whereas something like
yeah,
Piper.
Piper is amazing. It's realistic looking, but it's good because it's short and visually it's interesting, and even the timing is interesting because it's very fast paced, and then there's a lot of really great timing in the animation, and that's super cool to look at. But I rather watch something like Inside Out with all the animated expressions over something like
with the cartoonness being
instead of something like
right?
Polar Express, which was terrible to look at.
Oh yeah. Like, I mean, what's interesting is my dad, he was just watching on Netflix Final Fantasy The Spirits Within.
Yeah, that's a perfect example. All the Final Fantasy films, they are terrible. They look amazing, but
I mean, it's interesting because, like, looking at it, you're like, okay, it looks pretty good for something that's been done 17 years ago, 15 years ago, 16 years ago. But you're like, I mean, if that was the point, is that you were trying to prove that you could create a digital this and a digital that. And if that is the point of your thing and not to tell a story, then maybe you should have rethought it.
I remember I watched Advent Children, which is Final Fantasy VII. I think it's after Final Fantasy. Is it the prequel or sequel? I don't know, of the game.
The continuity of that thing, like, completely melts my brain. I don't understand any of it. I don't understand what genre Final Fantasy is.
Sometimes it's RPG. Well, it is always RPG. It is action adventure. But sometimes it's turn-based and stuff.
But, like, is it sci-fi or is it fantasy?
I think it's more fantasy. I think it's more fantasy. I don't want to say so. Yeah.
Right, yeah.
I don't want to talk about Final Fantasy because I don't know much about that. But it always felt like more of a fantasy film.
Yeah.
But the 15 one kind of threw me off because I don't know why they have a car.
Yeah, that's part of why I don't get it. And in any case, Will Smith as Genie, what do you think?
Are they gonna color him blue?
Yes. I mean, not yes as in I know that's what they're gonna do, but yes as in that was what
because
I was thinking
because I was thinking he'll be more in line with what they have on Broadway, where they just cover him in blue costume.
Yes, James Von Riegelhart. Yeah, where James Von Riegelhart is walking around in costume, and in that one as well, there isn't a literal Iago. Iago is
they get rid of Iago. I'm sure they will.
There isn't an Abu.
Or maybe he'll just have an evil. I think they'll get rid of Iago or not make him talk, but it'll just be a parrot.
Yeah, maybe. Yeah, but I want Abu. There needs to be Abu. Please do a CG
I think Abu
like
is gone because he's gone in the Disneyland one. He's gone in the Broadway version.
Oh no! No, don't kill Abu! Save our hashtag.
I wonder whether
Abu.
they'll have Proud of Your Boy in this.
Oh yes, please! I love
unless
that
they
song.
tease it like they teased
and I also,
Home.
I'm triggered. You triggered me now. I'm still sad about that. No, I also like the song they did for Jasmine in the stage musical. These Palace Walls.
Yeah, I don't think they'll be inside though, because if
sad. And this is directed by Guy Ritchie.
Okay, so I think this film will be
Which
fun,
is weird.
but I don't know whether this film will be good.
And, like, according to the Variety reporter, they went to Kevin Hart first for the genie.
Okay, terrible choice. I prefer Will Smith. Yeah.
Me too. Yes. And, like, I mean, if you're going to... I don't think they're going to be as loose with the genie's form as in the animated film, where he's not going to do as many transformations and do as many, like, visual
But it does
gags.
sound like a CGI.
I think they're just good. Right, yeah. But I think they're just gonna... if it's Will Smith, it's gonna be mostly Will Smith's face.
Oh yeah, that's true. That's true.
Yeah, I mean, I don't have any strong reactions one way or the other.
I think Will Smith is the... I wouldn't say the best. Well, I think he's the best they can do in terms of he can be his own character that I think will separate him away from Robin Williams.
Yes, yeah, which is what they do very well in the stage version, where there's a very different kind of energy with James Monroe Iglehart, but at the same time, it captures the lovability of the original Robin Williams version, and he's sort of playing it more like he's a host in a lounge, and which is kind of fun. And but with Will Smith, I think the main thing is he definitely will have the energy, he will have the pep, and he will have that sort of that goofiness and the speed, I guess. But I don't want it to be too manic. So with Kevin Hart, it will be too manic. It will be way too fast.
Is there going to be songs in this Aladdin film?
That's a very good question. Like, is there going to be songs? Is the first thing, right? With Mulan, with this, that everyone.
I think
is
Mulan.
about,
Okay, people need to stop panicking about Mulan because it is Mulan. It doesn't. The reason why it worked as a musical in the animated film is because it's an animated film. But if you bring this to real life, I think it wouldn't translate as well because there's no high fantasy to Mulan because Mulan is always more of a historical piece than something like Beauty and the Beast, which is a lot more fantastical. That's why I think it makes sense that there's music.
You couldn't make Shani turn into a dragon?
Which...
Wait, there is high fantasy in that.
Mushu. But is Mushu in this film?
He's
not, right? Because they're gonna change Shang as well, I think.
I think it's gonna be realistic, yeah. And I mean, it's a little bit like the Anastasia Broadway musical completely nixed Rasputin.
And they made it a lot more serious.
It's just like it's a random revolutionary general who's the bad guy, which disappointed me to no end. But the sets are
the dress.
Gorgeous. The costumes are so beautiful. I want to watch it
I'm
so
sure
bad.
you can. You go to New York a lot, right?
I hope so. Sorry, no I don't.
I thought you go to New York like every single year. Oh.
No, I don't. Yeah, I was in New York last year, and then in 2014 and before that in 1999. So not that often. Like, I went to the US a little bit more often for Comic Con in San Diego. So yeah, but I've it's gotten kind of difficult to manage, and it is quite expensive. So I've not done that last year, and I don't think I'm doing that this year as well.
I'm going to Japan again this year because there was some sale for Japan.
Yay! Yeah, are you gonna repeat Disney Sea?
Yeah, of course I am.
Disney Sea rocks. Oh, I love Disney Sea. I want to go
going back to Disneyland and Disney Sea, and then I'm going to Universal Studios for Harry Potter World, so that when Nintendo Land comes out,
do that. In Osaka. And the Terminator. Oh, that's the last one in the world which has a Terminator show. I love. Yeah,
I'm trying my best to go for all of them, but I think my priority will be Harry Potter World because in 2020 Nintendo Land will be coming out, and I want to focus on that when it comes out. Yeah. My plan. Yeah. I have it all planned out.
I figured. And there's gonna be like a DC superheroes theme park in Abu Dhabi. So we'll see what happens with that. Like, I don't particularly want to go to the UAE.
And I think they also have a DreamWorks theme park in Dubai.
Right, yeah. And yeah, at one point they were planning a Marvel theme park in Dubai, but that sort of fell through.
Alright, so I guess that's the show for I don't know how many weeks or months.
Well, hopefully when Wonder Woman comes out, we got to talk about that.
When does Wonder Woman come out?
1st June?
Oh, okay. I'll try.
Ish.
Yeah, 1st June. Oh, Doraemon is coming out as well. Baywatch. Zac Efron is in it.
Yeah, not optimistic for that because a lot.
I'm not optimistic about that either. Zac Efron is in it.
Yeah, but I think a lot of it will work because of The Rock and Zac Efron playing off of each other. I think that they will work well together.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, I think the writing will not be good, but them doing whatever will be okay.
Yep.
Yeah, I think that's a safe bet, right?
Zac Efron and Dwayne Johnson are always the best part about their terrible movies.
Yes,
yeah. So I can see that happening.
And maybe this means that they'll drag Dwayne Johnson into Neighbours 3. It's like a Samoan fraternity next door.
That'll be amazing.
Alrighty
I mean, it'll be pushing it, but it'll be amazing.
Yes.
Okay, yeah. So we'll see you whenever we can. Thank you so much for listening.
And I'm really happy to be doing this after so long. So.
And me too, because I love watching movies. I haven't had time to watch movies, so it's so nice to watch movies again and just soaking in the atmosphere when you're in a cinema. It's nice.
It is, yeah. It's sort of like taking in the communal experience, looking around a little bit and seeing how people are reacting, and yeah, it's fun.
Yep. So see you whenever. Thanks.
Bye bye.